With a good base, it's way easier to get large sums of builder elixir. So therefore in this video I'll provide you with 3 bases against specific attack strategies in the builder base so you can get some nice defense. Let's start off with the first base, and here we have this anti-Night Witch base. Night Witches of course are a very common attack strategy on the lower trophy range, and the higher trophy range is of course not that common, but in the lower trophy range Night Witches are very common because they are incredibly easy and also very strong. And you can already see on this right hand side you have so many traps around this roster. The roster is of course probably the best defense, or not probably, it is the best defense against Night Witches together with the lava launcher. So in order to protect those two defenses, you have so many giant bombs on this side and also some small bombs, and as well as this mini bomb in the core of the base that's most likely to take out all of those raged up Night Witches, which you are going to see in a little bit in a defense. And of course next to that we have 3 archer towers, we have a firecracker as well. So there is just a lot of things against those bats, against those Night Witches, and they are going to have a very hard time. Most people send in the Night Witches from the right hand side. You have the push traps, you have all of those traps there, and they are not going to have a fun time. And if they manage to get the first stage, which is very unlikely with Night Witches, in the second stage they're probably going to go with a few cannon cards. Everything is outrangeable with cannon cards, so cannon cards can get a lot of value. But for that, you have all of these push traps, you have all of these spring traps, and those are just going to make everything incredibly hard. And now let's take a look at how this base does against Night Witches in a defense example. And here we have an attack from KTA with 6 Night Witches and the attack helicopter. All Night Witches, sadly from the left hand side. Most attackers go in from the right hand side and then instantly lose all of their Night Witches. This time the attacker decided to go in from the left hand side. It would have been very funny if there was a double giant bomb there. Sadly it isn't, then all of his giants, all of his Night Witches would have been gone instantly. But you can already see now all of those ground to targeting defenses, the giant cannon is doing some work against his Night Witches. Now the roaster is coming in, taking out all of those raged up bats, taking out a large portion of the bats. And now these Night Witches have nowhere to go except for just to walk around the base, getting hit by the lava launcher, getting hit by the double cannon. And of course there are still a lot of Night Witches left, but they still have to go through those giant bombs. Those giant bombs of course are placed perfectly on the outside of the base, and they will take out most of those Night Witches, if not every single one of them. Now you see, first giant bombs come in, there's the push trap as well. Now he just has a few bats left with a few Night Witches. Now the second and third giant bomb come in, all of those Night Witches are gone, and now it is incredibly close, but in the end it is a 97% defense, which is just absolutely perfect. That's exactly the kind of defense which you want. Before we continue with the next base, quick reminder, if you want to buy any in-game items with real money, like for example any in-game offer, a gold pass or an event pass, then make sure that you are using a creator code. To support this channel, it would be our code RHBB, that would be much appreciated. And if you want to see more of my content, my Twitch as well as my TikTok are linked above. You can go follow me there. I would really appreciate that as well. But now let's continue with the video. And now let's directly jump to the second base, which is probably also my favorite one of the 3. This base is basically built against Pekka or just any ground approach, which you can see with all of those little compartments, as well as the Mega Tesla being in a sole compartment. The Pekka just have a really hard time getting into that. The ground troops, giants, whatsoever have a really hard time reaching every single defense. And because it is so strong against ground, you can of course have all of your traps set against air to also make baby dragons incredibly hard. And if they manage to get to the second stage, of course still every single cannon is waiting on them. Still every crusher is waiting on them. With that, you will of course have a very nice defense, getting you some trophies, as well as getting you that very nice builder elixir. And now let's take a look at how it did in defense against this defense. Of course he brought one bomber, and a bomber can of course get really nice value onto this base. But you can already see this double cannon is doing some work against Giant. The first Giant has already been taken out before he even starts the main attack. And now comes in the Pekka, as well as the Electro Fire Wizard, as well as the Battle Machine. But those Giants are just not doing the necessary tanking because they get taken out so incredibly quickly. Now the second Giant has to use the ability. Now the third Giant gets locked onto by the double cannon. And you can already see that Mega Tesla together with the guard post is just taking that Pekka apart. It's just ripping it apart. It gets no value. And of course, almost every compartment is opened up by now. But all of his troops just got disintegrated. They have just been taken out so quickly. And with that, we have a very nice 1-star defense. And last but not least, we have this anti-air base. So let that be anti-baby dragons, anti-minions, or anti-dropships. Of course, you can already see every single of those mines is set to air mode. And you have so many clumped up high DPS defenses against air. You have all 3 Tesla on this base, you have all 3 long-range arty towers, you have the air bombs, you have the Mega Tesla, you have the Expo set to ground. Baby dragons have no chance on this base. It may look a little compact, but it just thin out so incredibly quickly that you have no chance to get it. And once again, if you manage to get it on the first attack with air, then of course in the second stage, still every single one of those firecrackers are waiting on you. And if you weren't able to stop the attack in the first stage, then the second stage will for sure do the thing. Now let's take a look at a defensive replay as well. And of course, we have the very nice spam strategy with all minions, as well as the battlecopter to tank for those minions. It might look a little silly, this attack strategy, but it can be incredibly strong. So this is exactly what you want to try to defend. And of course, to make things a little harder, I don't have one of those archer towers active because it was upgrading at the time. But therefore, against this minion attack strategy or against air in general, that of course makes a huge difference if you do not have that third archer tower active. It is basically one less defense, which you will for sure feel. But you can already see this air bomb is doing some work against the battlecopter, taking it out, and after the battlecopter is down, all of those Tesla, those archer towers can easily get rid of all of those minions. Well, of course, the Tesla, the archer tower is not yet active. If the archer tower were to be active, then of course all of those minions would have already been taken out. Sadly, it's not the case, so those Tesla have to do the job, but of course those Tesla are more than sufficient to take everything out. Sadly, one of those minions slightly outranges the Tesla or the last Tesla behind next to the town hall or next to the builder hall. So he gets the builder hall, but once again, we have the 97% 2-star, which is of course a very nice defense. As always, base links are in the description if you want to try them out yourself. Have fun with the bases, I hope you get some really nice defenses. With that, I would say see you guys next week with the next video. Until then, see ya and bye bye.